Hi, I'm Marsh from StrataGames, and today we are playing some more Pauper, and we are playing Jund Wildfire. So, Jund had a bit of a change about a month and a half ago with Gixian Infiltrator being a new card that people started playing, and I did take it for a league. But to be honest, I thought it was kind of a fad. I didn't think it was going to really stay in the deck and make it better. I thought it was just something people were trying. But it seems to be the way that most people have continued to play the deck. So I didn't necessarily love it in my first league, and I played a couple off, recording off stream and things like that by myself, and I've done without the Infiltrator list. But pretty much every time I play against Wildfire, it looks like they are playing it. So I figured let's give it another try, see if maybe I was just missing something the first time, and if it really is the way to go moving forward. Something that I think is really interesting about this is that Jund Wildfire has been a deck pretty much since Modern Horizons 3 came out, and the deck was solved, quote unquote. It was, had a really good list for a whole year, and then suddenly someone decided to try out Gixian Infiltrator, and it did well, and now it seems like the deck is shifting to accommodate that. And that just goes to show how much, even within a established deck, how much brewing potential there is in Pauper. Just because a card hasn't been played in a deck doesn't mean that it's not good. I think Pauper's just small enough that it's a little bit harder for us to always find the 100% best list than in other formats where you have thousands and tens of thousands more players nailing down those lists every day. And so if there's a list, a meta deck that you think is pretty good, but you want to try out a different card in it, there's a good chance it won't be as good as what's already existing. But I think there's also a fair chance that maybe you'll stumble upon a hidden gem. So, never be discouraged that you can't brew around with some lists. Anyway, so we're doing Jund Wildfire, 3 Gixian Infiltrator. I am still playing a 1 of Nyxborn Hydra because I like Hydra a lot. I don't know if it's necessary or whatever, but Gixian Infiltrator does get enormous. I think having the ability to give it trample seems pretty obvious to me. Usually when people start playing the Infiltrator, they stopped playing the Hydra because maybe you just don't need as many threats and things like that. But again, I just think it goes so well with the Infiltrator that I still wanted to play one of it. Of course, we have 4 Cleansing Wildfire, 4 Wellspring, 4 Fanatical Offerings. Our other threats I didn't mention, Refurbs and Chrysalis. You're, of course, going to be playing 4 of each of those. And then for some more card draw and stuff, we have 1 Eviscerator's Insight, 1 Lembas. I'm playing 2 Spell Bombs and Makeshift Munitions. We're going for 4 Galv Blasts. With Infiltrator starting to be used, people kind of shifted to the Galv Blasts to be a little bit more aggressive. And then I think, there might have been a swap back to mostly playing cast downs. But I'm going to keep the Galvanic Blasts. I don't necessarily think they're better, but I do think it can make for a more aggressive win. You have a lot of reach with a Makeshift Munitions and 4 Galv Blasts. If you draw even 2 Galv Blasts and munitions, or just a couple Galv Blasts and you've gotten them down to 8 or 7 or whatever, you can just win from positions that you otherwise could not. So we're going to try those. 2 Blood Fountains, 1 Toxin Analysis. I think that Toxin's not always necessary with the Krarks, which we're obviously also playing. Gruul has been making a little bit of a comeback. Elves is one that you don't necessarily need Death Touch for. Spy Walls is one where the Death Touch is really good. But honestly, I think Toxin Analysis, I almost had a Unexpected Fangs in here because Lifelink is great on Chrysalis, obviously Hydra, but also you have all these Infiltrators which get enormous too now. That I think having some Lifelink for your enormous guys to help against those red matches is really strong. And obviously, I think Toxin Analysis might be the nice card that can converge with both. Krark can get Death Touch, and also Gixian can gain Lifelink. So just playing 1 of it, but I think that's going to be pretty good. And then 1 of Eviscerator's Insight for a little more card draw. I'm on 21 lands. From when I very first started playing Jund Wildfire, I thought 20 always felt a little low. Some people went up to 21. I tried that. I liked it better. Now with the Infiltrator and fewer Hydras, people have been going back to 20. I just prefer to be able to hit our land drops. I think even with our ramp, with wildfires and so many 2-drops and all this stuff with 20 lands, even 21 sometimes, you can get a lot of hands that are unkeepable and have to mulligan low. And I think the 21st land just helps that a little bit so that you don't have to do that quite as often. And then for our sideboard, I don't think anything is super strange here. We have 2 Spell Bombs, 3 Duress, 2 Troublemaker Oof, 2 Breath Weapon, 3 Pyroblast, and 3 Weather the Storms. I was thinking about, I know sometimes there's a Last Rites put in the sideboard. It's really, like, it's not super necessary, but if we go up against High Tide, which is a pretty tough matchup for us, all we really have to survive that is Duress and Pyroblast, and a 1 of Last Rites could just win us the game. So I could try to fit this in here. I guess, actually, I think I can, because I want at least 3 Spell Bombs, I think, but I had taken 2 because a list had 1 in the main, 2 in the side. Now that I have 2 in the main, plus the Bojuka Bog, I think I could throw this other one out, bring in the Last Rites. Just in case we get paired up against High Tide, it'll give us a better chance of winning there. And otherwise, our mana base is pretty standard. 8 red bridges, 4 twisted landscapes. My Bojuka Bog is my 21st land, 2 Vaults of Whispers, and then 6 basics. If you are not running Nyxborn Hydra, you probably want 2 mountains because you have a lot more red than green. But if you are running Nyxborn Hydra, you want to be able to find your second green source off of your landscape or your Wildfire so that you can bestow. So it's important to have 2 forests if you're going to be playing any Hydras. And otherwise, black is our main color, which is why we have 3 swamps and bog and fault and all that stuff. All right, let's take it into a league and see how we do. All right, we have our first match here, and the sand looks solid. No green mana, but that is our 3rd color. We have 3 lands, some good card draw, removal, and even late game Blood Fountain, so this hand looks very good. Obviously, we would love a Wildfire for turn 2, but otherwise one of the best hands we can open up with. Start with a bridge, and then we're going to play, unless we draw something else, a swamp and Lembas here. Looks like we're against something red. We get our forest, that's nice. Just in case we find a Chris. Cast Lembas, and Refurb's always pretty good. I think we'll keep that. It blocks against red if they have snackers or whatever. Takes a card from their hand. Flame Breather. I'm just going to Galvanic Blast that, I think. Spell Bomb. Okay. So, yeah, I can bridge, refurb, and Galvanic. This leaves us, I'm assuming they're Mono Red Madness. This means we're not holding up Spell Bomb for, like, snackers this one turn. I don't have to refurb here, actually. I could Spell Bomb first. That actually makes a little more sense, I think. It's also possible I should save this for, like, a Gutter Snipe, because it is our only removal spell at the moment, but I think that's fine. The only reason I'm usually inclined to play, like, a refurb first is because I can start attacking, but this is not a match where we need to race. We're just trying to gain control of the board. So I think I'm fine playing the Spell Bomb in case they have, like, a snacker. They just plot a Highway Robbery. That's totally fine. They do have a mana up, so if I refurb, they might have a Fiery Temper. Another Galvanic is decent for if they do get a Gutter Snipe. So I'm going to play a Forest. I'm going to play the refurb, and if they Fiery Temper and try to shoot this, then I can just offering it away while still holding up Spell Bomb and Galvanic Blast. They discard a Lava Dart. Same thing. I can just hold this up if they try to shoot this. I could also just Spell Bomb it away. I'll probably do that before they get like a Gutter Snipe down if they try to cast one, which they very well might, seeing as they have a Highway Robbery in that's been plotted and a Lava Dart. It's kind of the right opportunity to go for a Gutter Snipe and get some value. I think we just want to save damage, so I'm going to Spell Bomb here. We're going to Galvanic Blast this, but I'd rather not let them get the extra 2 damage off the Lava Dart. They don't even go for it because they want to keep their land. That's fair. And now I kind of want to be mana efficient and like use a Fanatical Offering, but I don't want to use it on a Lembas because I want to gain life off of that. I don't really want to sack the refurb, and they haven't played a land yet, so there's still a possibility they could play more spells here, so I'm just going to go for the Galvanic right now. On the Gutter Snipe, try to preserve our life total as much as possible, and they discard a Grab the Prize, which means they have a lot of cards in hand, but they must not have had a Lava Dart or a Snacker or anything. Krark, not super relevant. Something I can be happy to Fanatical Offering away. Let's play the Blood Fountain and the Krark. We're going to miss our land drop here, but I would like to leave up Lembas and the Fanatical Offering. If I just go for an offering now, then we don't hold up Lembas. There's a possibility we die, even from 18 life. There's a possibility we die from 21, but obviously it's a little safer. Play a mountain and just pass. I'm not going to sack the Krark because if I don't find another Galvanic Blast, it could be the removal spell I need against a Gutter Snipe. Or it could combo with our Gixian Infiltrator for a lot of damage. So interestingly, Chrysalis is 4 mana, but it can only grow off of spawn. It might make more sense to just play the Infiltrator here. And the next turn I can play the Chrysalis. This could be attacking for a lot more damage quicker. Because like, on the end step here, if I crack Fanatical Offering on something, that'll trigger it. And then I can map, I can Lembas, Krark, whatever. They might just have a Bolts for it, but I could still grow with the Krark. I almost think we just sack the Blood Fountain here, because I don't really need to bring stuff back from the graveyard, and the maps can do more damage from this guy. Like I have 6 right now. I have to find 9 more, but every artifact could be 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, I could get there, not to mention Chrysalis. I mean, I have to dodge removal, but like I think I might be able to kill him here, because now Spawn are going to grow both of these, and then map onto the Infiltrator. Eviscerator's Insight. So we're at 10 damage right now. Crack this. We'll be at 12. Of course, sacrificing an artifact makes this go down, but then, yeah, I think we just leave that on top just so that I can get another counter. Then we can bin it and play a Spell Bomb. And if I sacrifice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this will be 16 damage. I guess I sack the Refurb too, because afterwards they could shoot it. I'm pretty sure this is just, I should hold control, probably. Pretty sure this is just lethal though, right? I mean, I guess if they have like 4 bolts on this, it's maybe not, but then they have to use everything on it anyway. Although I guess this also kills the Chrysalis, and the Infiltrator does take damage. Maybe this is too risky. They're paying 4 mana. Could that possibly be 4? Yeah, the fact that this takes damage equal to the number of stuff I do. They bolt this. Okay. Yeah, this might have been a little too all in, I'm realizing. But we haven't gone to the point where the Chrysalis dies yet, so if they do spend a bunch of bolts, it's probably fine. Bolt again. I was just worried that if we passed, there's a possibility that they just can kill it. Now they have a Fire Blast, which is 10 damage. I could sacrifice stuff in response to grow it, but it'll take damage equal to the stuff I sacrifice, so that doesn't make any sense. So we'll just let that go, and then we'll yield to these. Yeah, I could have just gone for like a good chunk of damage, but I mean, with Bolt, Fire Blast, if they top deck a Gutter Snipe, oh, and they have a Fire Blast for the for the Chrysalis. I mean, that means if they had top decked a Gutter Snipe, we would have died. And now we're not in a great spot, but they have 1 card left, and it's a Flame Breather. Nyxborn Hydra. Draw a card. Attack for 2. Oh, this is interesting for sure. Plot a Highway Robbery. We get a Vault. Play another Wellspring. I mean, I still think we're in a pretty good spot. We have a Toxin to gain life. We have a Galvanic and a Nyxborn if we find the right mana. They cast the Robbery. They did also have a Flame Breather in hand. They discard another Fire Blast. So if they had Fire Blast, Lightning Bolt, that was 14 damage with a Flame Breather. That would have been lethal. So I don't think I was wrong to go for it, because they would have just killed us otherwise. Crack a Spell Bomb just to draw a card. There's red mana. There's more red mana. I think now might be the time to Toxin to gain 2. We get a clue that we can crack. If they have a Bolt, so be it. They don't. Epicure. Swing for 2. Crack a clue. Another Refurb is decent. Krark is also not bad. Let's attack. Obviously, Galvanic is almost lethal, but I think just to be safe, cast a Krark and wipe their board. So then I don't think we can die from 13, especially when we can play a Refurb, take their last card, discard a Mountain, and then play a Wellspring. All right. We got that game. Gixian definitely helped. We get Weather the Storms and maybe a Spell Bomb. I guess I don't hate Duress in this match either. Hydra's probably just a little slow. Krark is not amazing. It didn't do terribly there. And with Flame Breathers, maybe it's okay. I guess we only have 4 removal spells for the creatures, so maybe it's decent to keep. We get rid of like little card draw, Blood Fountain, Munitions is slow. Maybe 1 Krark. Maybe we don't need this many Spell Bombs or any Blood Fountains. Sure. This one's not amazing. We can get an Infiltrator down pretty quickly. It probably dies right away if we do that. We can Duress and Spell Bomb them though. Nothing on turn 2. Not even a plotted Highway Robbery. I think then I will Duress them. In response, they're gonna smash this. Okay. 3 damage, but it doesn't exile it or anything. Just 2 smashes, Fiery Temper. Kind of weird they did that in response, because even if I took a smash, they could still do it. And now I can take a Fiery Temper and they can't discard. Smash the Smithereens does have a target no matter what, even if it doesn't actually blow up. Fiery Temper's more value, but they can't really use it right now. But as soon as they find a Faithless Looting, it's pretty decent. I guess we'll take the Temper. 2 Gutter Snipes and a Flame Breather, though. Ideally, I mean, if they find land, they just like Gutter Snipe, and then because they don't have a lot going on, they cast another Gutter Snipe, and then I can just like Krark them both away. They find and plot a Highway Robbery. We get a Swamp. Let's see. I guess I'll just play a Landscape, Gixian, so I can start getting this growing, and then play this. If they find a Bolt for it, they can kill it right now, but we knew they didn't have one yet. Okay, I've got a great idea. Jund Wildfire, but we ramp into definitely Pauper Legal All-Star Carnage Tyrant. That sounds pretty good. I think if Carnage Tyrant was legal, there's probably a better deck to ramp into it with, which would just be like Gruul monsters. You could get it out on turn 3 or 4, but I do like it as a finisher in a deck like this too. That seems pretty funny. And it's great that it is legal. I'm surprised no one's played it at all. All right, a little flooded. We did start with a lot of lands in hand, but we have Nile Spellbomb can draw us a new card, so can the landscapes. They grab the prize with the Lava Dart. I think part of me wants to save the Spellbomb for the Krark, but part of me also just wants to draw a card. I'm going to just do this now before they know if they're drawing any lands with the Lava Dart, which means, or with the grab the prize, which means there's no way they sack one of their lands. Whereas if they draw 2, maybe they'd be willing to or something. I don't know. They do draw 1 mountain. Refurb is decent, as is Krark. Well, I mean, Krark is fine. It's something we can play here. And then I can hold up the Offering. Discard a Flame Breather. We have the Offering for if they try to smash the Familiar. Play a mountain. Swing for 1. And they plot a Highway Robbery. Crack our Landscape. And Galvanic Blast. Swing for 3. And just cycle this. And Wildfire, tutor out another basic, and pass. See if they go for the Smash to Smithereens. They don't. They just discard it with a blood token. I mean, I guess we have the Krark to sacrifice it, so even without the Fanatical in hand, we're not taking the 3 damage. They know that. There's a Gutter Snipe. They cast a Highway Robbery. Do I just sacrifice 2 artifacts here? Probably. It wipes the Epic here. Like, save the Galvanic Blast for later, I think. And honestly, I'm just going to get rid of the Refurb because I'd rather have the lands, I think. They do have a Bolt in response. That's 7 damage. We're down to 5. And we're not finding any of our life gain, unfortunately. They bolt us down to 2. Alright. Well, if I can find a Weather the Storm, I think we'll be okay. Otherwise, not loving our chances. It's Cleansing Wildfire, Galvanic Blast, offering this map, Gixian Infiltrator, play that, and map onto it. Writhing Chrysalis. Honestly, we don't really care for that. If we somehow survive here, I just want life gain. Have a grab the prize with a Gutter Snipe. Alright, we're dead. We didn't see any weathers or duresses. No, we did duress once. Yeah, we kept kind of a sketchy hand, to be fair. And it worked out fine, because they also had kind of a rough hand, but then we petered out. This one's not bad, especially with the Weather the Storm. I think we're going to make sure to play around the Smash to Smithereens with these vaults. We're going to either leave up a Fanatical or just probably try to play them a couple turns later. They play an Epicure. Yeah, like Bridge. We'll just play that. Pass. I gotta save this Galvanic in case they have a Flame Breather or something here. Grab the prize. There's Chris. Just gonna play a Landscape and pass so that I can make sure to hit Chris on turn 4. And I think I am gonna Galvanic Blast. I guess I can block this both of these after with the Chrysalis. Maybe this is not great, because then if they get a Gutter Snipe down, we kind of die. I don't know. I think we're just going to go for it. If they bring it back, then at least we get to Weather the Storm for at least 9 life, maybe more. There's an Epicure, and they discard with the blood token. If they discard with the other one, then they're getting it back without having to cast another spell. I'm still going to gain 9. They also discard a Smash to Smithereens, so ideally they don't have another one for this vault, but we'll see. They're going to swing with the team. Well, I will block all of it, I think. It's possible I should leave one around for like the Offering here, play another Epicure, but I also figure if we got like a Krark, gonna wipe him anyway, but I guess I could still sack him in response. I don't know. Blood token away another Snacker, and then Faithless Looting. Well, that is annoying. Discard another Smash and a Kessig Flame Breather. I'm gonna play Gixian Infiltrator, Refurb, and hold up our Fanatical Offering and our Landscape, and just pass. Swing with everybody. I guess I should maybe just block Epicures here. Our Infiltrator's pretty unprotected anyway, so I mean, I'm gonna sacrifice something so it doesn't just die to this, but if they want to like Lava Dart it in response, that's fine. I think we just do this and go for an Offering on the Refurb, because this is probably coming back anyway, so what does it really matter? I'd rather have the land, I think. Well, double land is not great. There's the Gutter Snipe. Pass into Spell Bomb. Nothing in the graveyard at the moment. Of course, we didn't throw any Snackers in there. Map onto the Infiltrator. Galvanic Blast. I would like to keep that to get rid of the Gutter Snipe. Fortunately, that means I need to play the Spell Bomb and crack it right away without the Snackers in the bin, but I'd rather not pass to their turn. Galvanic it down, see what they got in response. Fire blasted us, down to 13. Crack this Landscape, and I could attack for 11. That seems a little ambitious. We take 5. The chance of us taking 8 with them having 2 cards and 2 land is pretty low, but I think I just attack with the Gixian probably. We do need to draw something pretty good. Toxin Analysis, probably one of our best draws, or card draw into a Toxin Analysis. They're going to swing just with the Snackers. Sure. Spell Bomb, not bad. I think we will just cast that and use it right away in case we can't find a Toxin. We do get to throw away a Sneaky Snacker, or get rid of a Sneaky Snacker. Oh, I accidentally clicked no on drawing a card there. That's pretty annoying. I was expecting it to say okay for the thing or whatever, and I did it wrong. Oh well. I think we're in a pretty good spot. They have just nothing. It looks like they gave us the GG, but we have not won quite yet. And they've not conceded, so I don't know why they would do that. Lembas helps, though. Fanatical's pretty decent. I think I'm just gonna sack a land. Again, if we find Toxin, it really will seal the deal here. Or something else. I mean, we've got other options, but there's the Toxin. And I think we can just attack with both now that we're gonna gain 9 life here. I suppose if they block and then we go for the Toxin and they bolt their own snacker or something, that could change. But that still puts us in a pretty decent spot. So we'll try to gain lifelink here. They are gonna Fiery Temper their own snacker. They take 4, and I could just Gixian. I think that's probably fine. We're at 10. They have 1 card to draw. Diabolic Edict enters the chat. Definitely. Edicts would become even better than they are if Carnage Tyrant was around. Alright. If you're going to give GG, you can't keep playing the game. That's just... I think that's just bad manners. I certainly don't think they needed to have conceded, but just there's no reason to have said that. Cleansing Wildfire is decent because we can crack a clue and play it, but then we don't hold up the Weather the Storm, actually. I think it's fine then. We'll just leave it. Attack with everything. They have to chump both, otherwise we'll just crack a thing and make this 9 damage, and we'll pass the turn. Discard a Lava Dart, and they Lava Dart themselves, and then Fire Blast themselves. Okay, well, they concede. We're able to get match 1 against Mono Red Madness. Jumping right into match 2 here, we have... pretty decent hand, I think. 2 lands, a whole bunch of utility. We do have black mana, it's a little slow, but that's okay. Play a bridge and pass. They've got a Bajuka Bog. We're gonna just play a Wellspring here. And looks like Dimir. Fairies, maybe? Which is a little awkward, because then I can't really play much of anything. I guess if it's fairies, having a makeshift down isn't bad. I kind of want to just crack the landscape so I can get black mana. That's probably the best. And then we do still hold up Galvanic Blast, so if they flash in a spell setter here, I can just pick it off. Cycle Alorian, sure. Pass the turn. Sacrifice this for a swamp. Find a land. So I could Spell Bomb. If they go for a spell setter, I have a Galvanic or something, but I'd really rather just like Fanatical Offering here when the coast is ideally a little clear. I guess if they slam like a Throne of the Black Rose, it's not amazing, but I get to get my card draw and then play like a Chrysalis, hopefully. Ponder. Could also be Dimir Terror. Hello, how's it going, Ben? Oh, I guess they just counterspell this Fanatical Offering, but then they're tapped out, and I still get my card draw off the Wellspring. Okay, they let it go. And we don't draw land. Come on. Still no land. Rough. I guess I play a Gixian and I can map onto it to hopefully find a land. We're gonna have to discard. I could do the same with like a Krark. No, let's do this. There's the counterspell. So I'll just play the Krark and discard. What are we discarding here? I'm kind of feeling like it's Terror, mostly because of the Ponder. So I think I'm going to get rid of this Munitions. If it is Fairies, that's kind of not the best card to discard. It's not incredible against Dimir Fairies, but it is pretty good still. Also, if it's Terror, maybe we just don't need 2 Galvanic Blasts. Okay, that could still kind of be either. I kind of suspect they have a Snuff Out here, because if I could just remove this, I could take the Monarch, but not if they have a Snuff Out. That gives us a 3rd artifact, so I could Galvanic Blast the Thorn and go for the attack. Then if it doesn't work, we Gixian Infiltrator, or I could just play a Chrysalis, but I think we're just gonna try to blast this. I mean, I think they have to have a Snuff Out here, otherwise it's very ambitious to just lead with this, but they don't. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Maybe they just have another one or something. Well, I'm gonna play an Infiltrator and I think just a Spell Bomb while they're tapped out. Fairy Seer. Obviously 100% worth to try to retake. If they have a Snuff Out, they'll just Snuff Out Chrysalis. I mean, that's true. There's some merit to it, though. Like, we get the spawn, which with a map token actually could also be another attacker to try to take it back. You know, there's some reasons, but I do think it was the right call to try to take it. Fairy Seer, so they are fairies. I could go for like a Hydra on one of these guys to try to block better, but we probably just play a Chrysalis. I should build this deck in paper. Really like the Gixian in there. Yeah, Gixian is pretty sweet, and I have just regular, without Gixian, Jund Wildfire build, and it is one of my favorite decks to play. Alright, we could Nyxborn one of these up. Counterspells, not great. We could just Chrysalis. Counterspell, same thing, although we get in with more with like the Gixian Infiltrator. Plus then next turn, well, I don't know about next turn. I could also just hold up Galvanic Blast for this. I think the chances that resolves are very low. I think we're just going to go for the Chrysalis. Cast down the Krark in response. Okay. I could sack to grow the Infiltrator, but I don't think that makes a lot of sense. I will crack a spawn here to use a map. Although, again, I could put the map on this spawn in case we want another attacker. Cast down the Gixian, that's kind of weird. Or the Krark, that's kind of weird. Does that just mean they have another removal spot for this guy? Probably. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna map onto this spawn. We still grow the Gixian here. If we find a land, it's the same, but it doesn't get fizzled by them killing the Infiltrator. It's also part of it. Cleansing Wildfire. I kind of don't need that. Let's just get rid of it. Swing with the Infiltrator. Spellbomb also against Dimir. Its really only application is to prevent Gurmag Angler if they have one or two of those. So it's possible I should just send it off now. I think I'd like to get a card out of it, so I'll probably do it next turn. But if they do a Gurmag in the meantime, it'll be a little annoying. I'm pretty sure I just got rid of that wild. They do have the second cast down, but obviously they use it on the Chrysalis. They are going to take the Monarch back, but we do have 2 attackers and a Galvanic Blast and a Hydra to try to make sure we can take it back. We're just going to go to attacks. Don't think I need to do anything pre-combat. All right. They take 5. We take the Monarch again. I could cast Hydra on 1 and Chrysalis. Yeah. I mean, if I'm going to do that, I probably just want a Chrysalis first, and then I can cast Hydra for like 2-3, which honestly isn't a terrible idea to have 2 decent blockers here. I am going to Chrysalis, but the question is, do I want to just Nyxborn or Galvanic Blast? They Spell Stutter. Are they going to go for a triple Spell Stutter here to counter the Chrysalis? They are. That's hilarious. I'm certainly going to Galvanic to keep our Chrysalis around, but they cast 1 and I was like, that's weird timing. Sometimes you got to go for the old triple Spell Stutter. Preordain. What a gamer. I mean, it would have been sick if it worked, for sure. They do Snuff Out for life. Okay. Take the Monarch. 2 cards in hand. They kind of need a counter spell because I'm going to Nyxborn Hydra. Although if I go on the Infiltrator, they could also just have a removal spell. Ooh, another Chrysalis. I kind of just wanted Hydra onto like another spawn. I mean, people usually more expecting cast downs over Galvanics. Yeah, 100%. I think that might have been part of their thought, is that I only had red and green up. So I mean, if that's all they have, I think it was fine for them to go for it. It just did not work out this time. I could Hydra for like 4 on this guy, or I could just go for like a Hydra on for 2 just to trample over, and then I can still hold up. Not much, to be honest. Or I could just go for a big Hydra on this and potentially win the game. They've already used 2 cast downs, 1 Snuff Out, which they can't use on this anyway. Counterspell's bad. Hydra for 6 and win. Yeah, well, Hydra for 6 is a little unnecessary. If I'm going to Hydra on this, I'm going to do it for, what, 4 would be lethal? Actually, 3 would be lethal with this spawn, unless they have Snuff Out for this. Yeah, I'm thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I can also have something else up. I can have, like, my Fanatical Offering. Gix grows on the token sacks, too. Oh, yeah, of course. Very good call. I was just forgetting that. Yeah, so we can just do a Hydra for, like, nothing, just to give trample, which allows me to play some other stuff, too. Chris into Hydra. I can't Chris into Hydra because I only have 3 green or red. Otherwise, I was thinking of doing that. I mean, I could Hydra, I just couldn't bestow it, but I would like to bestow. All right. I guess they got tired of me taking too long, but they just conceded. So yeah, we were gonna go for the Hydra probably on like 2, probably just this 2. This guy would be big enough to be lethal even through this, and a Snuff Out on this. Then we also can hold up a Blood Fountain and a Fanatical, but we got there. I think they definitely should just not have Thorned there if they didn't have a removal spell. Also growing from Nile. Yep, I had that too. Enchant is more. Yeah, it's double green for the enchant. Yeah, I definitely just... again, the Gixians I'm not super familiar with at this point. I haven't played a lot with them, so I just blanked on the fact that obviously I could have used that. I could have grown from that as well. All right, so we get Duress and Pyro. We don't need the Spell Bombs or the Krarks, really, because they're mostly fairies. I mean, they'll have ninjas, thorns, maybe augurs. Makeshift is decent. Obviously, we got rid of it there because I thought it might be terror, but it is decent to get rid of spell stutters pretty much entirely. Toxin is not super necessary. Yeah, I think that's good. Those 6 for those 6. This one's a little awkward. We do have a Duress turn 1 to see what's going on. Then we don't have a Refurb till turn 3, and then Fanaticals don't have anything to sacrifice at the moment, but we do have our Colors of Mana. This one does not feel great to me. I think we're going to get rid of it. This one's better. We're going to keep, and... not sure what I want to get rid of. Probably a second Wellspring, but if the first one gets countered, it's kind of awkward. Galvanic is good for an early Ninja. Nyxborn feels like, oh, well, it's not going to be good until late, which is usually true and probably is the pick, but it can also block fairies. Even if I just put it as like a 1/2, it can block fairies pretty well. But I guess I have that and Galvanic. I think we'll get rid of the Hydra. It's also our only one. I don't really want to waste it as like a 1/2. Maybe we can find it later. Play a Bridge and Pass. Cycle a Lorien for an Aquifer. Play that, so they could have a Spell Pierce or a Null, but we just got to go for it this, I think. Nice. Okay. Would love some black mana. Obviously, we have it from the landscape, but again, that's slow. Rainstorm. Juga Bog. There we go. There's our swamp. So I think I'll just play that, and I guess they didn't have a Spell Pierce before. They did just draw 3 new cards, but I could just Offering right now. I guess that puts us at discard range, so probably not best idea. I could just do another Wellspring now. Yeah, I guess that's probably fine. Ugh, now they have the Thorn. That's pretty annoying, I will admit. More black is probably decent. Landscape, I guess I probably should have done red, because if I drew any land like this, then I could have played a Chrysalis. The chances are they're going to have removal for it anyway, though, so I guess I just go for, like, ramp. Try to get a couple guys out quickly. Now I'll just hold up an Offering to try to draw a bunch. There's an Augur. They got a Counterspell. Go for the Offering. They dispel it. So if I Chrysalis, they Counterspell, then I can Infiltrator. That probably just dies to whatever. I mean, I have plenty of card draw to rival the Monarch, so maybe I shouldn't focus on trying to take it so quickly here, because it just doesn't look like it's going to work. So I think I just go for a Cleansing Wildfire, try to ramp more. Draw on all our basics. Could play an Infiltrator. That just makes it easier for them to remove something, though. I think I'd rather just, like, throw them all down at the same time later. They're gonna swing. Hey, how's it going? It's going alright. We're playing against fairies who have the Monarch, and it's kind of tough to take back. But we are up a game. They're gonna replay the Augur. I'm just gonna go for this Offering now. They can Counterspell if they want, and they do. But we get a Refurb, get a Lorien revealed. Okay, so now I can Gixian, Chrysalis, and Refurb. What? We cast a Chrysalis, and they concede. They say they have to go. Okay, I was like, they definitely had something else going on. I mean, I know Chrysalis is good, but, like, I guess it should be banned if it just makes your opponent auto-concede when they're in a very good spot. Well, I guess we won. I mean, I think we were going to have a decent turn there. We were going to Chrysalis, Gixian, and Refurb. And they only had 1 mana, so they probably couldn't cast any removal there. Then on their own turn, you know, maybe they would have a Snuff Out and 2 cast downs, but then we get a Chrysalis again next turn. I think we had a fair shot of winning that game and, like, taking the Monarch within the next 2 or 3 turns, but definitely not quite how I expected it to go. All right, round 3 here. 1 lander's not going to cut it. 0 lander's not going to cut it. This one's decent. Get rid of the Toxin. Get rid of one of the lands. We're against Delver. So I can't get Kark down. I could just throw a Spellbomb down, which is decent that I can get around a Counterspell. But if their goal is Delver, then I need to find a removal spell for that. So maybe I just play the Bridge. I think we'll just play Bridge. Kind of unrelated, but how do you feel about Esper Affinity for a local meta full of people playing aggressive and or combo decks? Almost 0 control matchups. That's an interesting question. I will say, I mean, I think Esper Affinity's a good deck. I think its worst matchups are definitely aggro and combo. I think it's got a decent matchup against Red Rally, mostly because Suffocating Fumes and Grim Bauble, and if you're playing like more Suffocatings or Shrivels in the sideboard, it's not bad. But Mono Red Madness is a tough matchup. I don't think it's like impossible. I don't even know if it's unfavored, but it could be a tough one for sure. And combo decks, it depends on the combo deck. Spy, I've had very poor luck winning against Spy, personally. I think Spy is probably its worst matchup. So if there's a lot of Spy, that seems tough. If there's High Tide, it can be tough, but if you can refurb them enough, / if you're playing Raven's Crime and or Last Rites in like the sideboard, a single copy of either of those can win you the game. So I think you have some options there. What am I doing? Am I just going to Spellbomb this Deep Analysis away? I guess I'm just going to Wellspring. I need to find lands and like a Chrysalis or a Refurb or a removal spell or something for this guy. There's a Galvanic Blast. I see. Maybe I need to look for another deck for my local meta. Thanks for the insight. Wanted to know your opinion as one of the pioneers of the deck. Yeah, it's... I mean, I love the deck, but it is not lost on me that there are some pretty poor matchups. So, yeah, I would say, like, if there's no control at all, I think it's got a pretty good matchup against most other mid-range decks and also a lot of the control decks. Aggro, it kind of depends. Like, I think it's got a decent matchup against Black Sack. It's pretty good against Mono Blue Terror. What other aggro decks? It's pretty decent against fairy, like mono blue fairies, I think. So white weenie, I honestly don't know that much. White weenie's been so out of the meta that I haven't played against it really at all. So yeah, I think it definitely depends on the exact lists they're playing, or the exact decks they're playing, but it doesn't seem like it's probably the best one, I will admit. I think we just got to kill this and then spell bomb so that there's no more serpents coming. We got rid of the toxin analysis on the bottom of the deck, so we know that's not coming. Force is a great draw, so I can Chrysalis next turn. Skyfisher decks are never good unless aggro version of Boros. Weenie, sorry guys, are never good, because I don't agree with that at all. But if you're saying like never good against like combo or aggro decks, sure. Spending entire turn bouncing 2-mana artifacts to draw more cards in current Pauper is too slow. I do not agree. I think that maybe they're never tier 1 decks. I think that could be a fair thing to say. But never good is just very much not true at all. We're going to do Chrysalis so we have blockers even if this gets countered. I mean, generally in meta full of red and blue decks, it's always tier 2 at best. I just think that's a vast overgeneralization that's not entirely true. You're talking like, just because you play Skyfishers and things, you can't have cards that are good against, or you can't build your deck to be good against red decks or blue decks, and I don't think that's true. They certainly have some weaknesses, but I think Orzhov Glintblade, which I think has not necessarily been tier 1, but has been a decent deck for a while, I think that has a great matchup against most burn decks because it can gain so much life from Lembas, Kabir Crossroads, Radiant Fountain, Compass, obviously, whether that's in the sideboard or the main deck. I think it has tons of ways to survive. I think it's also good against Rakdos Burn because of the same reasons, but it also has flyers to block Kitchen Imps and Snackers. Boros also can have a good amount of life gain, usually plays a little bit less. I guess you said aggro version of Boros Weenie. If that's just Boros Synth, maybe it's better. But you could, but then it sucks versus other matchups. Those decks are lottery. You have limited free slots, and if you guess matchups wrong, you winning. If not, you stomped. I think you're just overgeneralizing things far too much. I don't think that's true. As someone who's played a heck of a lot of core Skyfisher decks, I do not agree. I don't really want to lose my spawn here, because then the Chrysalis, if I keep it, can be a 5/6. Don't love losing Krark either, but I think this is probably better. Part of me wants to sack one or two of these Wellsprings to the Krark to draw cards, but then I'm still losing the spawn, so I think we're just going to have to accept it. I'm going to mental note, hit 2 spells. Another mental note, hit 2 spells, so that's 1 mana terrors. And of course, that's why I would like to have the Krark on board. Didn't really feel comfortable going down to 2 life though. We can play Chrysalis. Making stats since 2022. Since Synth Print, only moments of shine for those decks were there when they were banned Swifty and Glitters. Yes, but you're trying to say that just because a deck is not tier 1 means it's not good, and that's just false. A deck does not have to be the best deck in the format for it to be a good or decent deck. I could take this opportunity to sack all 3 spawn, block the Chrysalis on the Terror, and eat it. I kind of want to do that, but then I also think that it's better if they have like a sleep that can tap these later, or a Demon Inferior. I think this is probably just the safer play. I meant to be your tier 1. I mean, that's fine. I would not use the language good and tier 1 as synonyms, because I don't think that's fair to plenty of decks that are good that are tier 2 or whatever. They go for a Brainstorm, another Serpent, and a Terror. I mean, if we find another Krark, we can wipe all of these away because we have 6 artifacts. So yeah, like a Krark off the top would be really good. We could even do like a card draw into Krark, but without it, we're just going to die. I collected this mentality from Walker, who has Jund and other shit decks. I mean, Walker is a great player, but if he's also someone saying that like it's either tier 1 or it's terrible, then I do not agree with that. Alright, we get Pyroblast, Duress, and another Spell Bomb. Cut Makeshift, cut Galvanics, and I guess we don't need the Lembas as much. Maybe don't need quite as much card draw. Obviously card draw would have been good there, but I think keeping the Krarks and the Toxin is decent. I guess usually I like to go down like 1 Krark. Obviously it would have been great there, but we could have also potentially played differently so that we had the 1 Krark still on the field, although they obviously wouldn't have played 4 Terrors if that was the case. We gave him Walls Hater roll in Discord as he was putting Walls combo always in lower tier. Walker siding on all Krarks. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily hate siding out all Krarks here, but I generally have enjoyed having a couple still in the deck. Now, that was usually in the non-Gixian version, so possibly I have enough creatures to be fine with it. But I think there's often a time where your opponent will play 2 or 3 to try to, like, beat you to the punch, and then our Krark can just stop them in their tracks. Obviously, Walker's one of the main people who knows the deck, so I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying I like to do something different. I mean, without cast downs, you enforced... Yeah, that too. If I had cast downs, I think I'd be more incentivized to take him out. But since I have to get rid of all my Galvanics, I mean, this is one of the main matchups worse by playing Galvanic and not cast downs. Well, I guess we just hold up a Red Blast for a Delver or something, maybe. Could have just played a Blood Fountain, which would have been probably fine too. I'll play Blood Fountain. I don't want a Cleansing here and tap out of the Red Blast. They get to just counter, potentially get something else down. Plus next turn I can just Wildfire with the Blast backup if I really want. Oops. They go for an Annul. I mean, I don't care too much about the Blood Fountain. I think that's fine. I'll just play this guy. They cycle a Lorien in their upkeep. So I could Wildfire or just Wellspring. And if I Wildfire, which is probably the play, then I could Blast to protect it, or I could just let it go and hold up a Blast for like their first Serpent. I think I'm just gonna Wildfire, and I think I will protect it. We already have the Krark to potentially wipe a Serpent. They don't even interact, so that's fine. And I'll wait on the refurb. Cycle another Lorien. Mental Note. Plenty of spells in their graveyard now. There's a Serpent and a Terror. So I could counterspell. I could just go for the Krark, but obviously if I don't find the Death Touch, which is a one of, then I could play like a Wellspring and a refurb and then sack all of my lands and everything, and that's not going to work very well. I think we'll counter this. Obviously if we find Toxin, it's a little unfortunate, but otherwise I think it's the right call. I could play an Infiltrator, but I don't really have a way to make it grow yet, except for the Krark. I think we're going to Wildfire to ramp, find our second green source, and then I could refurb, which is Wellspring, which is more mana efficient. I think we'll do that. Also, if we hit a land, that would have been nice, but we'll pass. We're going to take a hit here. Flashback Deep Analysis. Deem Inferior. I can't do much about that, so I think I would like to get that back. We'll put it second from the top. They have a Serpent. Forest. So I could just play a Gixian and a Chrysalis, and then I can double chump, grow them both, and the next turn we can do a bunch of other stuff. That's probably the best. I guess I could have used one of these spawn for the Infiltrator, so it grows a little less, but then I could have also played a refurb as another blocker. That would have maybe been a little better. Another Serpent. I mean, this is the point where the Krark is really good, but obviously they probably have a counter spell here. I think we're gonna... I mean, they know we have the Krark. We also do have a Blood Fountain to get it back. I think I'm just gonna go for a draw 3 here first. This Infiltrator's pretty close to growing bigger than these guys, so I just like to see what else I have. We have another refurb. Map can also make the Infiltrator 6 toughness. Now I'd like to take a couple of their cards away. They annul that. Play another one. One card left. Play a Vault. Play a Blood Fountain. So I can map onto the Chrysalis here. I mean, we're going to cast the Krark. If they have the counter spell, that's pretty good. If not, we're going to hope this map grows the Chrysalis. And if so, I can sacrifice 5 artifacts, wipe their entire board, and keep ours alive. Chrysalis on top, we'll leave that. This is 11 damage, so I just sack 5 artifacts, and I can also just win the game. So they could have a Boomerang or something, but they don't usually play that with Deem Inferior. Hydroblast wouldn't matter, they would have used that already. I think there's not a lot of reason not to, seeing as I'd also just want to get rid of these Serpents. And I think I'm going to just sack the Familiar so that I have the mana to use the Blood Fountain next turn, and I can get back the Familiar, in case we don't just win here. But this is 16 damage. Alright. That's why I like to keep the Krarks in. Sometimes they just have to commit enough to the board because you have Chrysalises and things that can block for a while, and then if they do and they don't have the counter spells, then we can just wipe the board. Now obviously the Gixian helped there too. That was pretty decent. We'll do that again. Ideally. This one's pretty good for countering their Serpents and things. Spellbomb and a Bojuka Bog. Pyroblast can get like a Delver if they get one of those down. The only downside is that we are going to sandbag the Bojuka Bog, so we're not going to have black mana for a couple turns, but I think that's fine since we'll be holding them off. Also, Wildfire's pretty decent. Ponder, and they shuffle. I'm not going to Bojuka Bog for 2 spells, plus I think I want to cast this Wildfire. They could have a Hydro or a... I mean, I guess if they steal Sabotage the bridge in response, it's pretty bad, but we're going to hope that doesn't happen. Spell Pierce is fine. Not as bad as a Steal Sabotage. I'm probably not going to Pyroblast the Spell Pierce like if we had waited a turn anyway, so I don't think there's a reason to do that and to wait on it. They Brainstorm here. They could Mental Note and hit like a 1-mana Terror. They don't, luckily. We have 2 Pyros now. I think with a Spellbomb in hand, it's probably worth it to go for the Bog here. I would like to get my black mana going. We have 2 Pyroblasts, so I think we'll just go for it and hold the Spellbomb for later. Go for Mental Note, Sleep of the Dead. There's a 3-mana Refurb. although it can be 2 with the Spellbomb. Spellbomb is something I'm going to want to protect because of the Sleep of the Dead. It's possible if I Spellbomb and they try to counter it and I Pyro and they counter again, I can Red Blast and then I can Spellbomb everything away, and that's pretty good. And Gixian just doesn't do a lot on the board at the moment, so I think we are just going to cast this. They let it go. Then I guess I will refurb. I'm still holding up one of these. I discard a Hydroblast. Okay. There's a Brainstorm. 3 mana for a Serpent, which I will Red Blast here, offering. 2 cards left in hand. So I could obviously go for the Spellbomb, but if they played a 3 mana Serpent, it feels like they don't have any other spells to cast. I mean, they could have a counter spell or something, but they don't have any mental notes or anything, so they might just go for like another 3 mana Serpent, which I don't mind them doing because then I can Pyroblast that. So I kind of think I'm just going to go for an Infiltrator here, keep the pressure up, try to blast their next creature, and then Spellbomb next turn when I'm also growing the Infiltrator a little bit. And if it's just a Serpent, then I don't mind letting it resolve, obviously, because there's no ward to pay. By doing it now, I got by Spell Pierce, but they didn't have Spell Pierce last turn. I think we're just going to go for it. If they have Counterspell, it's not going to matter anyway, and they don't. Chrysalis is pretty good. So I could just Chrysalis, crack the Spellbomb, just not draw a card. But then we're just hitting for a whole bunch really quickly. I think that makes sense. We'll crack the Spellbomb. I guess we crack it on our turn. We get them with the Infiltrator. All right. They concede. I assume they just had like a couple more Serpents in hand, and the Pachuca Bog plus the Spellbomb really got them. Got them good. All right, round 4 here. 1 lander, still not going to cut it. This one's pretty good. We have to decide if we want to get rid of the Krark, which of course could be really good if we're against the right matchup, or just like refurb. I guess refurb we only have 1 artifact for right now. I mean, same could be said about Krark, but I think we can get rid of the refurb. If we get rid of Krark and then we're against Elves or Rally or anything, we're going to feel silly. Opponent mulls to 5, so that does help a little bit here. Sheltering Landscape. So it looks like Bogles probably. Another one Krark is going to be good against. Ooh, double Wildfire. This is kind of nice because I can Wildfire myself, but if they play Utopia Sprawl or something, I can also maybe just Wildfire them if we want. I might still want to just do it on myself. They do go for the Sprawl. Glade Cover Scout and Ethereal Armor right away. Well, since we're not hitting a land, I would love to Sprawl ourselves or Wildfire ourselves, but I think with them having an armor that I can shrink a little bit and cutting off their white mana. Well, I guess I don't cut it off because they'll just get a Plains. But if they don't have a 3rd land, then they can't play their 3-drops, which are the scariest cards for us. I think we are just going to go for this. And ideally, we draw an untapped land. I can play a Wellspring here. It's a refurb. Let's crack this for a mountain, just so that if we get an untapped whatever, we can play a Chrysalis. They have a Cartouche of Solidarity. That's up to a 4/4. I think we want to draw cards, so I think we're going to play the Wellspring. I'm going to play the Krark. Probably not going to use it yet, but we had the mana, didn't want to waste it. I have another Ethereal Armor. No Trample yet. I don't have the auras or the artifacts to sack it regardless. So do I want to jump for 8? Problem is, do we have any way to kill this without a Krark? Not really, unless we just get a big enough guy. So I think keeping our Krark around so that if we find Death Touch or 8 artifacts is probably for the best. And if they have a way to give Trample next turn, we'll probably just die, but so be it. Forest lets us play a Chrysalis. Hello. So we could just do that. Even if I go for a Fanatical Offering to draw cards, we don't have the black mana yet to cast a Toxin this turn. Also, if they still don't find Trample, then we can chump with the spawn tokens. If they do, we're probably dead regardless. So they do find a 3rd land, so if they have an Armadillo Cloak that they're unable to cast, looks like no. A cat has entered the chat. Indeed. She's chilling right here, giving me advice. Being the Grima Worm Tongue for me right now. Another Chrysalis. I mean, that means we could have a 5/6 and that. Still not enough to double block and like actually kill it. Hello. I think we'll play it, but we'll use our black mana, or keep our black mana, so I can Offering, and I could jump and Offering that guy, but I think I just want to try to draw right now. Fanatical this. There's a land. That's the 2nd black. All right. I guess I might as well attack, shouldn't I? Talk me out of playing Esper at my LGS for the 4th week in a row. I simply will not. If you want to do that, I think you should do that. If you want to play something else, play something else. Esper's so good. I played Esper at my LGS on Saturday, and went 3-0 with it, which was pretty sweet. And then I have another event on Friday, and I'm considering playing it for that as well. Sack this Landscape or Swamp. Well, I can just attack for 11, and then can I make these Infiltrators big enough so that we won't die if they do finally get Trample? Because I could play a Spell Bomb. Wait, I have 11 damage, plus I have a Galvanic, that's 15, plus a map, 16. We're so close. All right, we're going to play a Blood Fountain. I guess I'm kind of pinched on black, so I maybe that wasn't the play. I should have just done the Spell Bomb. Or just, yeah, double Gixian here. Map onto this guy. Yeah, not a lot of reason to play the Fountain. I guess we'll keep that in case we don't die. It's something. If they get trample, like if it's an Armadillo Cloak, they're going to gain life. It's going to be really tough to come back from that. But if they get like a Rancor, that would be put them to 12 power, which 4 plus some sacrifice things, we could survive with these two. So I'm going to swing with these guys and we'll see what they get. Ledgewalker, okay, that doesn't do anything. An armor on that. Well, if I respond by sacking something to the Kark, this will die and they won't have enough blockers to survive everything. So I'm pretty sure I just sack this and then deal damage. But this way then I have to chump with the Infiltrator, but I still have lethal on them with these two, so that doesn't matter. If they leave it back, that's not going to change anything. Alright, I think we got there. I guess for good measure, I'll just refurb to make sure they discard their card, but they block one of these, and they will take 10. Alright, well we got a little lucky with them never finding Trample or Life Gain. We get Oof. Breath Weapon's not amazing, but it can shoot the guys before they gain auras, potentially. Duress, also something. Spell Bombs are no's. Don't need Blood Fountains. Munitions is irrelevant. And Galvanics are also irrelevant. So we'll cut a couple of those. Alright, this bog is looking rough, but we have Krark and we have Troublemaker Roof, so I think this one's decent enough, ideally. Would love an untapped land, Glade Cover Scout, and Mask of Law and Grace. Protection from black and red, that's tough because of the Krarks. Of course, Troublemaker Roof can take that away, so it's possible we can get him good, but I'm going to play this because I have nothing else to play, and we'll pass. There's a Rancor and an Ethereal Armor. Okay, well, they're going fast. No Edicts in our 75 feels rough for this matchup, for sure. I have to take the Mask of Law and Grace to be able to deal this any damage. Fortunately, doing that, the armor still makes it a 4 toughness guy. I want to build up artifacts by playing like a Wellspring, but I also think I probably need to Wildfire this. It does shrink their guy a little bit. And it makes it so they can't play any more white spells or green spells if they get a plains here. So we're going to do that. Another Wildfire. They do get a plains, which probably means they have another Ethereal Armor. Or they just have a forest in hand. That makes sense too. Cartouche. So it's an 8/6. You got a 5 refurb. So I could take the Mask. It's still a 7/6 or 7/5. If they don't play anything else on it, I can block with a Troublemaker in 1 Kark and survive. But I have to lose an artifact to do this, so the chances of me being able to actually wipe it away are pretty low. Or I could Troublemaker Oof on the armor. Then it's just a 4/2, but it still has protection from, still has first strike from this and protection from everything else but the oof. I think we're just dead either way. Can't really imagine a way this goes right for us. I think it involves finding a land here and then oofing away like a Wellspring or a Lembas. I'm just going to go for this. Chances are I think we just die, but if we get an untapped land there, I think maybe it's okay. Alright, they got us that time. Our tap land was pretty brutal. They had a pretty decent start. Let's hope on the play we can get them. This has no interaction for them at all. It's an okay hand otherwise, but I mean it's pretty slow still, so I think we'll get rid of that. Obviously no lands is not going to work. This one's okay. It's got, again, the Krark and the Troublemaker, so I guess we get rid of these other cards. Start with the Sprawl. But I get a Krark down right now, so if they do play a guy and try to suit it up, I could just... Never mind, they have the Gut Shot for the Krark. I was going to say obviously we could sacrifice a land if we really need, but I suppose they're prepared for that. Glade Cover Scout, nothing else. Landscape. I really don't want to sack a land to take this away. I think we just go for a Wellspring here. If I'd left up black mana, that would be pretty decent. Still not terrible next turn. We get to Oof plus Duress. Abundant Growth, okay. They didn't have anything for just a white last turn, and they don't. Feels like they just have a lot of 3 mana auras, maybe. Obviously gonna Duress them here. Ancestral Mask, they do have a Rancor, Utopia Sprawl, and a bunch of creatures. I mean, I could take their Sprawl, and then I can oof away their other Sprawl, and they're left with 1 mana. I feel like that gives us the most time. I could take a Mask, but they're kind of far from that anyway. If they Rancor onto this, I have a Troublemaker Roof to block anyway. I think we do that. I think we Sprawl. I mean, if I'm casting the Troublemaker Roof this turn anyway, it's going to be on a Sprawl, because there's nothing else really to get. I mean, I'm not going to go for the growth of the Sprawl, obviously. They find a Cartouche. I mean, that's Not a terrible draw. Not the best thing ever either. Another Duress. Okay, now I can take the Rancor. Go for a Wellspring. Refurb is good, but I specifically do want to take away this Rancor, I think. I will leave this back because it blocks the Warrior token. They Thoughtseize bug another Rancor. That's pretty annoying. I could just play an Nyxborn Hydra for 2. And then we could block here, but I think I'd rather try to draw this turn. Okay, we get a Krark, so I could do that, and that's a safety switch in case they get like an Ethereal Armor off the top. I think that's probably for the best, just in case, because if they don't, it's probably better to like save it. But if they do just top deck Ethereal Armor and then I can't kill it, it's pretty bad. I'd rather not sacrifice my lands here, so I probably will wait and just take another 4. We're getting every Duress, which is not really a complaint. I think that's pretty decent, actually. I'll take the Mask if nothing else. They have another Rancor, which they're trying to save, I guess. I mean, at some point they're probably going to have the mana, so maybe I do get rid of this Mask. If I have a way to wipe this anyway... Oh, they saved it because I have the Krark, and obviously I could just fizzle it. Yeah, I think it's still the Mask. And refurb, discard a Bogle, and I guess I just map onto this guy. Maybe it survives. Or we get a land, that's fine too. Although I guess if I was going to sack the map to the Krark, maybe this was silly. I can still Fanatical Offering the Oof and sack the map and sack the refurb, but then I lose all my creatures. I probably don't want to do that. Probably will just sack a land. Problem is if I mean, I guess I might as well attack regardless. No. If I do use the Krark here, I am opening them up to playing another guy. We know they have a Rancor. I accidentally clicked cancel it out. I'm giving them the ability to start working on another guy. Because if I don't, then I play like a big Hydra next turn. Refurb dodges Shaman. Yeah, I know. I'm saying if I were to sacrifice the refurb to the Shaman, because I don't necessarily want to sack 2 lands here, or even a land in a map. Well, we'll just pass. But yeah, as long as I have the Krark on the field, they can't do anything else. Whereas if I sacrifice here, then they get to start playing another guy. Hydra on the Krark Clan Shaman next turn. Well, we only have 1 green, so I actually can't do it on the Shaman next turn unless I top deck a Forest. But I do think I'm going to just take this hit, because if I even just play the Hydra out and it's big enough to block this, then they have to like commit another thing to it before I go for the Shaman, in which case I'm just like making them use more resources. And I'm going to sack this since it's going to die anyway. Chrysalis is pretty good too. Similar to the Hydra. So let's play a refurb. They discard an Armadillo Cloak. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to play the Chrysalis here. And yeah, I do think I would like to make the Shaman big enough to survive with the Hydra, but I guess I was thinking about sacking this map. Again, I should probably save it for the Krark's activation, so let's just pass here. I don't mind. It's not a big deal if I sack one of these guys. I'll attack for 2, and then next turn I can Hydra onto the Shaman. That seems pretty safe. Again, if they go for something here like another Rancor, which we know they have, then I probably will be forced to use it in response. But like now they can't attack in because of my Chrysalis, unless they have... They could have just drawn a Gut Shot. Because if I block and I sack, they first strike and then they Gut Shot. I mean, then they're using it on this and not the Krark, but if they do that, they'll have first strike to all their damage on this, so the refurb could kill this. So I'm going to double block here. I guess I don't have to sacrifice anything. No, because then they first strike this down and then they Gut Shot this and that doesn't work. So yeah, let's sack. Maybe they just didn't think about how Chrysalis works, but I feel like Chrysalis has been around long enough they should know at this point. Or maybe they're willing to let it go, but that also seems bad. 4 damage on the Chrysalis, and then they Gut Shot. They even pay mana for it, which means they're not going to play another Scout this turn. And then the refurb's going to finish it off. I absolutely read them since I knew about the Gut Shot from earlier. I don't know how they come back from this now. I mean, even if they, I didn't block with the refurb, it's still like the Krark was pretty rough for them. All right, I think we're just gonna go all in on this. We do know they have a Rancor. Okay, we just win the game. I was gonna say I wasn't. This warrior with 5 life, they have a Rancor. If they top deck a land, they could double Rancor. Like I was gonna leave back probably both refurbs or something, or maybe even leave back the Krark an extra turn or something. But yeah, we were able to get there. What did you face the other first 3 matches? Let's see. We played against... No, I can't remember anything at all. Red Madness was the first one, I believe. Mono Red Madness. Mono Blue Terror was, I think, the 3rd match. And... what was the second one? Something else. Dimir Fairies. Those were the other 3 matches. All right. Last match here. And I don't think 0 lands is going to work. Oh, this is a pretty hot 0 land hand. This one's decent. And I think we were putting away the Hydra because looks like we're pretty far from it. It doesn't seem to work super well with our hand anyway. And we're against more Terror. I probably just Galvanic Blast this right away. Galvanic Blasts are not good in the Terror matchup anyway. They're specifically going to be decent against the Delvers, so let's not let it flip and deal us any extra damage. Cycle Alorian and another Delver. Well, Refurb is decent against that too, so I think we'll we'll just play a Wellspring. I could play a Krark and sack a land to blow it up. If I had the Wellspring already on the field, I would probably play the Krark and sack it to blow that up, but I'm not obviously going to lose a land for it. Demon Inferior. Swing for 3, hold up Counterspell. Let's see. I guess we'll play a Krark, because if they want to counterspell that, I can play a Refurb. If they don't, well, if they do that, I could also do a Eviscerator's Insight. It obviously doesn't look very scary now, but then I can maybe Eviscerators at the end of their turn, maybe tap them out, or just draw a bunch, which is fine too. Insight here. Obviously, if they have the Dispel or Spell Pierce, that's decent. They still get to hold up Counterspell. So that's definitely annoying. We're getting too many lands. I play a Refurb. They Counterspell it. I think I'd rather save it for another turn just to, just to dodge the Counterspell probably. Cycle a Lorien, and they're going to pass. Crack a Landscape. Toxin Analysis. I mean, would be decent in this matchup if they had any terrors on the board. I think we're gonna Refurb now. Probably gets counterspelled, but then if they do have terrors and they play them and we can Toxin them away, that's kind of decent. If not, we'll probably just Toxin to cycle. Or I guess I'll probably cycle this Landscape actually. Makes a little more sense. Swing for 3, and they're just gonna pass. And we're drawing so many lands. Okay, Chrysalis is good. They might not counterspell because they have the Demon Inferior, which is fair. We can get it back. There it is. We will put it on the top. Swing for 3. Gixian. So let's see. I can 5 mana. I can cast the Chrysalis right here. If I want to Eviscerate his Insight to draw it and then sack the spawn to recast it, probably makes sense to do so. They either didn't have a counterspell or more likely they did. They just didn't want to use it on that, which is fair. But if they don't, it puts us in a better spot. I do have to sack a land to be able to do this, which is unfortunate. We actually only have 2 black mana. Let's sacrifice one of these lands then. I guess they could counter this too, knowing that we have the Chrysalis on top, which means I probably should have used these mana so that I had black left over so I could like cast this. Hey, thanks for helping me get into Pauper. Really learns the game from your YouTube videos. Will this run be on YouTube as well? Yes, it will. I generally put up my VODs a day or 2 after. This one should be up tomorrow. So if you're just tuning in, then yes, you will be able to catch the rest of it on YouTube. Yeah, I should have sacked the spawn for this because then I could have played the Infiltrator, so that was not great. I guess now if they just counter the... well, yeah, actually... yeah, it's a big deal because if I had the Infiltrator, I could get it big enough with a Toxin to at least gain 1 more turn with this, whereas now if they just have a counterspell for the Chrysalis, then I'm going to lose because I can't Toxin anything but the Krark. I guess Krark, Toxin, and wiping the spawn actually gains me enough life to survive a turn or 2. Play Chris. If that resolves, it probably just means they have a Demon Inferior, which is not great either because that means I can't go for the Toxin Analysis until after they do that, which means I'll have to play the Infiltrator after that. Well, we're going to pass. Brainstorm. They do have the Demon Inferior. We're going to let it go. Second from the top. Cross-side, subscribed with Prime. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. All right, we're going to make this gain Death Touch and Lifelink. If this resolves, then I can survive a turn. We can draw the Chrysalis, replay it. Maybe if they don't have another Demon Inferior or Counterspell, we can survive. But if they just have the Counterspell, then we're dead. Unfortunate. The one Delver, I even killed the other Delver, but I didn't have the Galvanic for the other one. Despite that, I think we cut these. What did we cut before? Makeshift, 1 Krark. Well, what are we putting in? Duresses, Pyros, and a Nile Spellbomb. Alright. Really awkward with double Forest here. Refurbs are decent, but not if they cost 3 mana. I don't think this is a keep, unfortunately. This one's much better. Keep this, and I think we're going to get rid of the Krark. It could be really good against the Terrors if they get those pretty quickly, but I think it's the worst card in their hand right now. I'm going to go for the Wildfire and hope for no... I mean, Hydro or Spell Pierce is fine. I'm hoping for no Steel Sabotage. Perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. Swamp first is turn 2 Refurb with... oh, because if I played the Blood Fountain. Sure. I think I would just prefer trying to get the Wildfire off. Obviously, it didn't work out, but like I'm not trying to slam a Refurb and like race them. Obviously, I'll do that if I need to. Okay, something weird is happening with my computer. Sorry, I don't know what's happening. Both my screens went black for a second. Now it's lagging. Ideally, it'll be fine. Hey, first time seeing you live and not just on YouTube. Thanks for hopping in. Glad you're able to catch me live. All right, I think we're good. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. I could have put a turn 2 Refurb down, but I'm not necessarily trying to like just slam a Refurb and race them. It's not a bad idea, but with the Wildfire, I think I like that a little better. Obviously when it resolves, which it did not. Another Steel Sabotage. Well, that is annoying. Believe it or not, me too. Hey, I'm glad that everybody's able to catch the stream today. When I'm getting absolutely trounced right now from Steel Sabotages. Perfect timing. Thought Scour, and that could be a Terror. Yep, Duress. Well, I think now we're just playing refurbs, but things are not looking good for us. Play an island, swing for 5, we'll take it. Serpent. Well, I could Duress or refurb, but I only have 1 black mana, so I think I'm gonna die, probably. NYC MTG subscribed to Tier 1. Thank you very much for that, Chris. I appreciate it. Yeah, totally my first time tuning in too. I know, it's crazy. I've never seen you before. I feel like I have to go for the high upside play because we're so far behind that I probably want a Wildfire again. That would get us our double black mana so that we can probably play 2 of these next turn. We're probably taking 10 or 11. That's not great, but we also need to draw, like our best bet is to draw to a Krark Toxin, which Fanatical could help with, but I also think that having the more mana is better, so I think we just got to do this and hope it resolves and doesn't get Steel Sabotage for the 3rd time. All right, this one did. And then also, if we're lucky, I guess I'm pulling out a swamp, but if we're lucky, we find another swamp or Vault of Whispers here that I could play. I mean, a land is okay. I'm just going to leave this back. I don't think the 2 damage matters. I don't think I'm going to... Well, I might chump. I mean, they have a Sleep of the Dead, so I probably should chump if I have the opportunity. This kind of forces them to use it if they don't want us to chump, but it looks like they're just fine with it. We will go for the block. I have another Terror. I mean, with so much black in our hand, I actually think I just get another black mana. Theoretically, I could find more black. I could Duress, pull a counterspell, Fanatical Offering to find Krark and Toxin Analysis exactly, and then easy game from there, right? Although if they have double counterspell, this is kind of rough too. Well, Dispel and Counterspell. Both of those counter the Fanatical Offering. If I just play a Refurb, yeah, I guess I Refurb to make him discard. Okay, if I Refurb, and then I can... All I need to do is top deck the Krark. I don't need the Toxin. I'll just sacrifice 5 artifacts. Then we could still absolutely win. Because we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to sack one of these, but I'm going to get it right back. So our Krark Clan Shaman keeps us alive, and otherwise we die. Well, a bit unfortunate. That was for the trophy, but 4-1's still not bad at all. Double Steel Sabotage is always brutal. Sometimes Terra's answers just line up too well. Yeah, they definitely can. A lot of times people are playing the Annul over the Steel Sabotage, but Sabotage is definitely really strong against the Cleansing Wildfire. Mono Blue Terror just so good. It is a pretty good deck. Heard there's a reason a lot of people like to play it. But yeah, we didn't do too bad, I think. I do think I have time for a couple more matches, so we're going to just play some more of this. I do think I prefer the cast downs, especially because we went up against Terror twice. I think if we didn't have to like cut Galvanics, it'd probably be better matchup for us. So let's put those in over these. What is Last Rites good against? It is primarily like if the number 1 deck it's good against is High Tide. This deck has trouble against High Tide because we're pretty slow. We're not really going to be able to race them in any way. If we get a good Duress or Pyroblast off, maybe we can stall them that way. But if we draw Last Rites, we basically just win the game because it doesn't matter if we discard our whole hand. We're probably just going to win at that point. So that's the main one, but it's good against any of those spell combo decks, Tron or Cycle Storm, or I mean not like Ruby Storm or anything like that. Not that those are really super prevalent, but it's also decent against harder control decks. I kind of just threw it in because I wanted an answer to High Tide, but I like against Azorius Familiars or Jeskai Ephemerate, it's okay. Like decks that are, and I know I'm mentioning some decks that are tier 2 or tier 3 or whatever, but control decks that tap out a little bit more, like Familiars, is decent. Obviously, if it just gets counterspell, it's not amazing against like a Dimir Fairies or something like that. But yeah, so. But I know that like High Tide is the worst matchup for this deck, and so that's really why it's here. So yeah, I think swap the 4 cast downs in, and otherwise I think I'm pretty happy with it. So let's jump into another couple matches here. I am liking the Gixians a little bit. I might have to try them out in paper too. Swap the list over a little bit. Come on. I have to buy this card. We do have High Tide player in our card shop. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, like, High Tide doesn't come up a ton on MTGO, obviously a little bit, but if you have 8 or 10 people who play in your card shop and one of them plays High Tide a fair amount, then I definitely think a one of in the sideboard is a nice call for it. Certainly just specifically with Jund, because it's kind of a bad matchup, but any deck that you have where it seems like kind of a bad matchup that you have black in, it can just screw them over, because you could just, like, again, if you have one threat that deals 2 damage, like some 2-power guy, a refurb or whatever, you just take every single card from their hand, they're not probably going to be able to win before you can just hit him 10 times with that 2-power creature. This hand is fine. We don't really have anything we want to sacrifice to this insight. Same with the munitions. Same for the infiltrator. So we're missing some wellsprings and things like that, but otherwise it looks pretty decent. We're against mono white heroic, which probably means I should just cast this down right now, or maybe I should get greedy. Should I get greedy and just cast it down in response to whatever they play? But then if they have an emerge unscathed, it's kind of bad. I don't know. I think I'm just going to cast it down right now. I'd love to get more value, but if they just continuously hold up protection from now on, it's kind of rough. Wellspring's decent. Obviously, that's what we were looking for. This is a deck that's pretty dangerous to tap out against. I don't think I'm going to die this turn, but like if they can give it protection from black with like a Benevolent Blessing permanently, that's kind of bad. They did hold up a white mana as if they have a Emergent Scathe. I think I am just going to play the Wellspring though. It lets us play Refurb and Infiltrator next turn, or Refurb and Insight or something. There's a solid footing. Okay, so now it deals damage equal to its toughness if it has vigilance, which they'll probably give it with like Sentinel's Eyes or a Light Wheel enhancements. And there's the Blessing to give pro black. Well, this one's looking pretty rough already. I guess if we find like Chrysalis can jump several turns. I guess we shouldn't sacrifice this before we play the Refurb, because then we won't have affinity count. Wonder Weave Aerialist. Let's Insight to draw a bunch. Doing it now to see if I get like a bridge or something. Looks like I will have to subscribe next time, since Amazon Prime is not available until today. Been a minute since I have used Twitch, and I guess they changed the Amazon subscribes. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but I appreciate the thought, and I'm looking forward to whenever you subscribe next. Well, let's see if we can find a Chrysalis Chrysalis with Toxin, we could get it, but we would need to find it with 1 mana, which seems unlikely. I guess Krark would also work, so why can't I give Makeshift Munitions Death Touch and lifelink? What's this world coming to? Lembas Define KCS. Yep, I think that's the play. I probably should have just played the landscape and looked for it with that, but Wildfire, not gonna do it. This is, a KCS could still just chump, which means if I could like chump 1 turn and then find another one and chump and then actually give a Death Touch, then I could still survive. So let's draw 2 more, and that's not gonna do it. All right, need more enchantments, 100%. It's exactly what we need. All right, Duress, Troublemaker, Oof. Breath Weapon's not great because that guy's got 4 toughness. It's okay against the other ones, but like they're playing the Aerialist, they're playing probably the Deft Blade Elite. We don't need Graveyard Hate. Blood Fountains are slow. Makeshift is slow. That's probably it. To be honest, I don't always hate like a Last Rites against this type of opponent anyway, or either, because by turn 3 I could take their whole hand. Maybe they just have 1 guy that's not that scary, and also a Hydra doesn't seem very good, so we'll test this out. Otherwise I could put in like a Breath Weapon, but I guess Nyxborn is another differently colored creature, so maybe it would be decent. This doesn't have any interaction, and it's got 2 bridges, which means it's slow, but I do have a lot of card draw to find things, and I have a Chrysalis. I think Chrysalis is just good enough, honestly, because they can't gain protection from it, so it gives, assuming it doesn't have flying, it gives 3 turns of protection. It's like a triple fog, and since they're not regular Bogles, they don't have trample, so I think it might be okay. Trailblazer, cast down's good. I will say I think I'm pretty satisfied with casting down the Trailblazer right away last time. They happen to have a second one, but they also had the protection. Then again, if they had just left up the protection, they wouldn't have cast anything on it, so maybe they wouldn't have done that, but looks like they might only have 1 land, so I could just cast this down right now. Probably the smartest thing to do, because if they brought in Mask of Law and Grace and then they play that, I can't cast it down. Although if they had already had that, they probably would have played it. I kind of want to get greedy in Lembas, but I think I was satisfied with doing this before when it had no enchantments on it. Now with 1 land and 1 enchantment, I think it's probably fine. Opponent said, "You always have that, don't you?" As if it's not a 4 of in a lot of decks. This guy's got protection from black. I do have another cast down, but I can't kill that. And Refurb can't block it, so I think I'm just going to go for the Lembas, try to hit our lands so we can have a Chrysalis block. We do find a mountain. Good enough. There's an Ethereal Armor. And another. So already a 5/5. And it's got flying, so it has protection from dying from Krark, Clan Shaman. I feel like I already lose to this. Like, what can I do against this guy? I guess Troublemaker Oof can pull some of these off. I could just Refurb, but they have 4 cards. I can't jump anyway. I guess I probably want to offering the Wellspring, so let's just do this. There's the Oof. Play this guy. Have any of the common Spider-Man legends been seeing any play? I remember the Bee guy looking interesting for Madness. I don't think any of them have been amazing, but yes, some people are playing Swarm in Madness as like a 1 or 2 extra copies of Kitchen Imp. A couple people are playing Darval, the Spider-Man Webslinger, as a couple of in like a Boros or Orzhov Glint Hawk decks. I think those are the only 2 legends really seeing any play. We get to take away an Ethereal Armor, which is pretty decent, but this is still a 4/4. Next turn I can oof it again, but I mean, it's just killing me right now. Well, if they have anything to play on it, it'll just kill me. But I can't do anything about that. I guess I'll take a card. The green Spider-Man has played in Gruul a bit. Keep mana. Oh, Lembas activation. Yeah, that was silly. I kind of forgot about that. Oops. I've not seen the green Spider-Man played in Gruul at all, but I trust you that it probably sees a little bit. This becomes a 6/6. So yeah, I could have survived unless they have another thing with the Lembas. The 3/3 Web Slinger is in white weenies, right? Yeah, I've seen some people play in white weenie. I don't think it's doing a ton there either. To be fair, white weenie just isn't really showing up at much. I definitely should have left up the Lembas activation, so I blanked on that. If I had done that, I could Chrysalis and Chump for a turn, and then I could Troublemaker Oof, wipe the thing away, but I'm still dead there unless I can also do another Chrysalis, which I could find to like be big enough. So I think I was dead regardless, but I definitely shouldn't have played quite like that. Heliolima is 5-0'd 3 times in 2 days with it and Gruul. Okay. I did play against them playing Gruul a couple of days ago, but I never saw that one. But it could have been before that, or they just didn't draw it. But that's interesting. So yeah, they're doing, a couple of them are doing a little bit. None of them are like standing out as like the best thing ever. A 2 of. Yeah, that's the other thing. They're all legends, so I don't think you can really play more than 2 of any of them. I will mulligan. This one's decent. And I guess I just get rid of the Krark. It's kind of hard to know Krark or Cast Down here, but I think Cast Down's better against more decks. It's just Krark, the decks it is good against, it's really good against. Although this is not one, so I'm pretty happy with that. Web Slinging an Elf on turn 2 does seem pretty decent. Yeah, I agree. It does seem pretty cool. Well, we get our Krark back anyway, so amazing. They have a Moon Circuit Hacker. I mean, Krark blocks and trades with this, which is decent. Or at least eats a Brinebear Intruder. Another Fairy Seer. Play the Krark and pass. Did scry 1 to the top, 1 to the bottom. Of 1 mind. I'll definitely block the Hacker here. I'm not willing to sacrifice a land, but if they Brinebear it, at least they don't do anything else. Ooh. Well, that makes me want to sacrifice a land to wipe both of these, but I don't think I can afford it right now, unfortunately. Like, then I still play nothing on turn 3 because I have all tap lands. But if I play Wellspring, I'll probably do that to wipe these 2 away. Might even do it on my turn just so they can't snap any of them. Wildfire's pretty enticing too. That actually lets me Chrysalis next turn. Ugh, Chrysalis or take away 2 Hackers. Kind of want to just take away the Hackers. I'm gonna go for a Wellspring. And yeah, like if these are their only ninjas and they have like a snap, they'd be happy to pick one up. So I think we're just gonna do it right now. Cast Down's not bad, although we have all these Slagwoods bridges, which is a little unfortunate. Swing with the Seer. Have a Ninja of the Deep Hours. They're going to pass Gixian, or we could just Cast Down, or we could Wildfire. Wildfire doesn't take this ninja off the field, though. Cast Down. Obviously, anything they could counterspell. I think going for mana is probably our best bet, so that we can just play more things. And if they counter this, I can get a Blood Fountain down, which is fine, I suppose. Get a Swamp. I'm not going to play a Blood Fountain into a Spell Stutter, though. Brinebear Intruder. And a Fairy Seer to set up their draw. 2 to the top. And they have another Moon Circuit Hacker. Nice. I really like the 3-mana Websling guy who ramps you. Seems pretty solid. Yeah, it does seem interesting. Especially in like a Gruul ramp shell. Something like that. An Island and a Fairy Seer. Well, we gotta play a Chrysalis, I think. Probably gets countered. But we have Spawn for both of these. Plus maybe a Cast Down up. Doesn't get countered. We're just going to pass. They have Spell Stutter for any of our 2-drops, but if they cast something here, then I could Cast Down now. I feel like they're probably going to snap or tap down the Chrysalis in some way. So by losing a Spawn, I probably should just kill the Ninja as opposed to Spell Stutter. If they're flashing this out, it could mean they have another Ninja, or it could mean that they're trying to get up to 4 fairies so they can counter like another Chrysalis, or they're just trying to push damage. There's an of 1 mind. Another of 1 mind. Don't really know how we're going to deal with all these cards they've drawn. Swing with the team. We're going to block the Spell Stutter and the Moon Circuit Hacker. They do have a Ninja. We'll sack this guy. So they have a Fairy Seer back in hand. They're going to pass, hold up Spell Stutter or Counterspell or something. Go play a Gixian. If they go for the Spell Stutter, we have the Cast Down for it. If they just let it resolve, I could Blood Fountain that gets spell stuttered even through a cast down. If it doesn't get countered, it does allow me to grow the Infiltrator, but Infiltrator already trades for either of these except through a Brine Bear Intruder. This being 3 power could be good, but because of the spell stutter, I think I'm just going to Wildfire here. Hold up the cast down. Well, I could refurb over cast down. That might not be a bad idea. It's less mana efficient, but it's not that big of a deal. Can't get spell stuttered, and it blocks. If it just gets counterspelled, then that's fine. It doesn't. I feel like maybe we have a chance. It feels like they're being overly cautious, like, because this is the time probably to snap off a counterspell, or maybe their hand isn't as good as I would think based on it being 7 cards big. But they discarded a Fairy Seer, which I believe was what they picked up with this Ninja. They also have a Brine Bear Intruder from earlier that we know about. There's a Miscreant, another Miscreant. They are going to swing with the team. I mean, I'm blocking this here. I know about a Brine Barrow, so I also really want this Gixian to grow. So do I just block with the Refurb here? And I take 1. If they have another Ninja, it's rough, but we've already seen 5 ninjas, so I'm hoping they don't have another one. I could block all of them. I just don't think that's the best, so we're gonna do this. There's the Intruder, shrink the Refurb, and that's it. All right, Chrysalis is a great draw. We're gonna cast that, obviously. They do have Spell Stutter on 4. I mean, I'm gonna cast down to try to prevent that from happening, but if they have a counterspell, then I can't do much about it. But I think Chrysalis is too good to just not play here, and we're too low on life to chance it. But yeah, they have the second spell stutter, so we have these covered. 1, 2. We're taking 4 in the air right now. Cutting it pretty close. I suppose if we don't die, we can Blood Fountain back Chris and Refurb. Could even cast them both. Well, no, because I'm going to have to use up a couple spawn here. This blocks Spell Stutter. This blocks this guy. This blocks this guy. Do have another Ninja. Gonna Blood Token away this Blood Fountain. There's no way we're going to use the second one, and if we survive, we might want to have a new card. Toxin's not bad. Although, of course, they have a Spell Stutter in hand. If they have another Ninja, we just die, because this is 5 right now. Or like a Mutagenic Growth, but... Alright, we're down to 1. Gale Blade. Okay. Forest. So, 4 mana. We have 9 total. Refurb and Krark. I think my best way to win is by getting this Toxin off to gain enough life to survive a hit. But I would need them to not block with a Gale Blade, because they could just sack it. And I would need the Spell Stutter to have been cast, and for them to not have another counterspell. So I could use Blood Fountain to buy back Chris, but if I play that, I'm only 1 mana left for the Toxin. I guess I have 2 more spawn. The other thing is I want to get Gixian as big as possible. Like, they could counter Chris, and that's enticing enough. Refurb would probably also do it, though. And then I could also play Krark. I guess we have... I mean, yeah, any one flyer hitting us is bad. Chrysalis blocks just as much as Refurb as far as flyers. We already have the ground covered, so I think we get these 2. Grow the Infiltrator. Play the Krark, which will probably be fine, unless they have 2 counters and they want to use one on this. But Refurb might draw out a counter spell, and then if they don't block with the Gale Blade, okay, they do Spell Stutter that. Then we're going to go for the Refurb, which I feel like that means they have to have another counter spell, because they know we have this. That means they're going to have no cards, unless they crack the Gale Blade here, which honestly wouldn't be bad. I could also, if I want to be more risky, they do have another Spell Stutter, okay, then I could just hold the Toxin for when they attack us, which I guess if they can't sack the Gale Blade now, though, actually. So if I attack, he's going to be 5, 6, 7, because I'm going to crack the clue. So I'm going to go up to 8. Block here, I'm taking 7, so I'm still very close to dead. Or I just hold back. They probably just don't attack with a Ninja anyway. I gain... It's pretty much the same. So I think we attack with the Infiltrator here. They don't block, so let's Toxin it. I guess if I don't sack the spawn, then I have an extra blocker, but I also gain 2 less life, so let's not do that. Go up to 8, boom. Now, if they have any way to get rid of this, I'll just die. And that was our only way to gain life in the deck, but theoretically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Theoretically, if they don't leave back enough guys and we get like a Nyxborn Hydra and they don't have a counterspell, then we could just like Nyxborn for almost lethal. How do I win? Yeah, probably just the Nyxborn that I was thinking about. It's pretty... I mean, I would have 6... So Gixian Infiltrator would go up to 13 power, which is lethal, but obviously they have blockers. So I'm probably not going to win here, but they didn't attack with everything. So actually I'm at 3 life. So if I get like another Chrysalis, well, that's a bridge, so that's not going to do it. Yeah, we're going to die, but I think there was an out. Like, obviously they needed to draw nothing, but if we get like card draw into Chrysalis and like a Refurb, puts us in a pretty good spot. And then if we get a Nyxborn in a turn or 2, I think we could definitely get there. So chances were slim and it didn't work out, but we definitely had outs. Pyro and Breath Weapon come in. Duress, maybe. Get rid of Spell Bombs. I mean, in general, Toxin's not really worth it. Same with Quark here. Prefer Duresses over them. Makeshift is good, though. Everything else I like, so just one Duress is probably fine. These are obviously the ones I'd prefer. Now, in the post-sideboard games, in that position, like a Breath Weapon could definitely get us out of it, but obviously in our main deck, the only board wipes we had were the Quarks, which wouldn't have done enough against the Flyers. But yeah, since they didn't, if they had attacked with everything and we went down to 1, I don't think we probably could have won. Well, no, that's not true, because then we could have top decked the Nyxborn right then. If we didn't top deck it, we wouldn't have won. But since they attacked us only down to 3, we had some more outs, I think. Alright, on the play with a decent hand, some lands, some interaction. Probably just duress them on turn 2 rather than going for the Wildfire, unless they tap out, which I guess if we play Wild Bridge and they play a 1-drop, they'll be tapped out. We'll go for the Wildfire. But if they are not tapped out, I'll duress so that we don't get Steel Sabotaged or something. They do mulligan to 5, though. Play a bridge and pass. Well, they just Steel Sabotage right off the bat. I was going to try to duress to make sure that didn't happen with our Wildfire. Now I don't want to duress into a Spell Stutter Sprite, so we're just going to hold up a Pyroblast. And the next turn, I could either Wildfire or duress with a Pyroblast backup. If they go for a Spell Stutter there, I'm going to counter it so that they can't Ninja. To be honest, I think we'll just be patient one more turn. If I duress here and then they try to Spell Stutter it and I Pyro it, then I'm tapped out. If they go for a Ninja or something, it's kind of rough. I think probably in a fine spot. Also, they're now missing a land drop since they mulliganed. Gonna play, I could just play a Wellspring. I think we'll just do our own thing, or I guess I could have Wildfired too, but our own thing. I'm not gonna duress until probably later, since there's no reason to like be proactive with it and then get spell stuttered and have to fight over it, I don't think. I'll go for a Wildfire. They're gonna blast it. I will blast back. Now if they spell stutter, I could Pyro or cast down. If they just counterspell, I think that's fine. I think we'll just let it go and draw a bunch of cards while they're tapped out. That seems reasonable. Play a Refurb. They go for an Annul. We'll fight over that. Okay. 1 mana left. I could go for the Duress. Question is, are they even going to have spells left? Could all be creatures, but if they have fairies and things other than Spell Stutter, they're probably just going to play them out. I think we'll Duress to see if they have like an of one mind, or there it is. 2 ninjas. Oof. The other hand is not looking hot at the moment. I'm just going to play this Wellspring. Playing versus fairies or terror, seriously no chances to tell. It's fairies. Now I'm sure you can tell because of the ninjas, but before that, yeah, it definitely was a little tougher to tell. And they find an island so they can hardcast a ninja. Nice. I will play an Infiltrator, map onto him, Cleansing Wildfire. We can leave that just in case they get like a tap spell or something. We're going to cast this down, Juka Bog, and pass. Although if they tap out for the ninja, I'm just going to like slam a Nyxborn Hydra on this for 1 million. And they can see. I think he's seriously oversighted versus you and that backfired. Yeah, I mean, they mulligan to 5, so I think that's part of it. But they definitely drew a few too many Hydro Blasts, it looks like. I think a couple are definitely fine in this match when you know there's going to be probably Breath Weapons. Obviously, Wildfires are good. And also probably bring in some Pyros. But you know, we only have 10 red spells in our deck, so I feel like Hydra's kind of like a 1 or 2 of that they should bring in. And the Steel Sabotages are decent, obviously, against Wildfires and Wellsprings, but I think it was more the mulligan that ruined them. Well, this hand has no black mana, which is awkward, and is slow, but Red Blast is pretty good. Munitions, if it resolves, is really good against them, assuming we have stuff to sack. And then we have the Chrysalis to play, so I think we're going to keep it, but this could definitely be a tough one. I might want to not lead on a bridge, just so we don't get sabotaged right away, and I can hold up a Red Blast for if they try to do that on turn 2. There's a Miscreant, Breath Weapon. Obviously, I could also just Red Blast the Miscreant right away. I don't think that's probably the best play. Yeah, I think we'll just lead on a mountain. I suppose if they go for Ninja the Deep Hours, I will probably just Red Blast it. But if they go for Moon Circuit Hacker, I don't think we're gonna chance it. Take a damage, that's fine too. Now I'll play a bridge, pass, flash in a Spell Stutter. I think that's fine. Swing for 2. They go for the Moon Circuit Hacker now. I could Red Blast the Hacker. They go for a Spell Stutter, and then we just Breath Weapon everything away. I kind of like that, to be honest. It puts Chrysalis back an extra turn. I mean, it's still kind of just a 3 for 3 because they get to eat the Red Blast. They also draw a card, but then it sets them back quite a bit. I guess if they have another Hacker or Ninja, it's a little worse. Yeah, I think we probably just take the damage and then maybe do that at the end step. Then if they let it go, it's kind of not amazing. So I could just Munitions here, and then if they try to counter it, I have the Red Blast. Munitions is pretty decent, but we have to actually be willing to use the munitions with our lands, which we don't really want to at the moment. And I would like to get this Chrysalis down. I think we'll just do this and then Chris next turn. It is a little awkward for sure. Play a Fairy Seer. 1 to the top, swing for 3. I could also Breath Weapon. They could Spell Stutter or something, I Red Blast, but they could have a Hydro or Dispel or Spell Pierce, and that gets pretty bad. I think we'll do the Chrysalis because even if it gets countered, we use an actual counter spell, and then also I can block this for a turn and hopefully draw out more creatures, and then we get like a Breath Weapon then. They're swinging in. I'll block the Fairy Seer. They have a Hacker for the Miscreant. Fine by me. And they just pass. We know they have a Spell Stutter and a Miscreant in hand. So now I can Munitions, if that, and then fight over it with a Red Blast, and then potentially even Breath Weapon if I need to. I think that seems pretty decent. Like if they have a counter spell for this, I Red Blast, then they have a Spell Stutter for that, and in response I Breath Weapon everything away, and then I get a Munitions on the field. And then I'm in very much control of the game, I think. We need black mana still, but otherwise it's pretty good. Or they just let it go, and that's fine by me too. There's a Fairy Seer. Snap the Chrysalis. I could Red Blast that. I could just sacrifice it. I mean, if they snap it, I get to recast it. I get more spawn, and I can just block what's on board right now. I think that's fine. Why wouldn't we want 2 extra spawns to sack to Munitions? Yeah, that's kind of my thought. It does seem interesting. So I think I just block these both, and then I'm going to ping off the Fairy Seer with one of them, and then obviously I'll ping off one of the Hackers with the other one, but I'd rather get rid of the Flyers. This taps us out. I guess they could Hydroblast the makeshift Munitions now. That's not terrible for them. Maybe I shouldn't have fully tapped out, but looks like they don't have it. Play a Landscape. I guess I will. Part of me wants to just leave up 2 red for these, but I do kind of want to get black mana at some point, and I think with the Munitions, just one of these being held up is probably fine. Yeah, they didn't even, I assumed they had a counterspell for the Chrysalis on the way down, but I guess they just wanted to give us some more spawn, which is very generous. They're just going to pass. We'll get a Swamp here. Another Red Blast for good measure. Let's play a Refurb. Maybe I should just Fanatical Offering these to draw for more lands and stuff, especially when I have a Breath Weapon that might wipe the whole board, but more blockers seems decent. And I guess we'll just pass. I mean, I don't know how we lose this game, but I guess I don't want to, you know, at the end of this turn, I'll probably go for, like, ping a bunch of guys off. All right, they conceded, finally. Yeah, I mean, if they could find a Hydroblast to blow this up when I was tapped out, I think they would have had a chance, maybe, but certainly with double Red Blast up, it's not going to happen, so we get that match. It is going to be a little shorter of a stream today. I gotta go do some things, make some dinner and stuff. So we're going to end the stream there. But Jund Wildfire in conclusion, still a pretty good deck. Gixian Infiltrator, pretty cool actually. I'm liking it a little bit more than I did originally. And so definitely I think worth trying out. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Did I restart the league? I finished one league and then I started another league, but only got a couple matches in before I have to go. But yeah, thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you all next time.